Hello, everyone. Super special announcement just before we start in with our regular podcast. As of June 3rd, there is going to be a new way to work with me. And that is, I'm going to help you with the full setup. So we have the 90-day program already, where I work one-to-one with practitioners at any point in their business. But from June 3rd, there is going to be extra on top of that. It's a full agency process. We can make your website for you. We can set up your social media for you. We can make sure we've got videos and maybe podcasts happening for you. Get in contact because there is the beta round. So you might just want to get in on board. So have a listen today to the podcast, but do keep in mind that there is a total new way to work with me, and you might just want to book in with it for a chat, or at the very least, sign up to keep posted on developments. So to sign up, geraldineheadley.com, and you will see the sign up space. Look forward to catching up with you soon. Enjoy the podcast. Packages, when you're starting out, are a great way to work in business. And it's something you want to think about. Packages. Would a package work for you? And it probably would, because we're overthinking that first client. We're worrying about that client coming to see us and will they come back. Whereas if we've sold them a package of 3 appointments in the first place and we've decided in our minds exactly how that's going to work, we're going to see them for that first appointment, we're going to take the case, we're going to go away, we're going to nut it out, and then we're going to the next appointment.
Mentoring with Geraldine is a bite-sized practitioner podcast for naturopaths, nutritionists, herbalists, coaches, and practitioners. This podcast responds directly to the needs of you, the practicing natural therapist. We have interviews during the holiday season and business and mindset support each week, so you'll get the variety you need to enjoy and stay motivated in your practice. Don't forget to subscribe to receive the weekly episodes. And if you want to connect with me, always check the show notes, because that's where you'll find the links to book appointments and, of course, to join the Academy, the membership group, where there's constant connection and community with like-minded practitioners. Now, let's get started.
Hello, and welcome to Mentoring with Geraldine and the Bite-Sized Podcast. How the devil are you? So sometimes we do things that aren't necessarily at quite the right time. Well, I did a live into the Confident Practitioner Community Facebook group on a Friday afternoon at about 5 o'clock, and nobody came. What a surprise. We always have to review when we put things out there. And that just happened to be when I was free that day. But it's actually a really bad time, as it turns out, to deliver anything live. So in perfect fashion of when people are going to listen to it is because you're here on the podcast and you've made the time to listen and learn. So I really hope that this helps you setting up in practice or where you are in practice right now. And I look forward to catching up with you soon. Enjoy. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about setting up in practice. Now, if you're coming back for the replay, it's #replay to say hello. And that also means when we say #replay on anything we watch, it means that we can find it later. And if there's any questions, you'll be able to find it to see the answers to those questions. So do say hello. It looks like everything seems to be working now. Oh, this is working. Excellent. So I've got myself a little list, practice setup tips, because, we've had lots of people join recently. And the people that have joined have made lots of comments. I need to upskill. I'm looking for a refresher. Start practice once qualified. Confidence in the real world. Making the leap from grad to pracky. Struggling with having recurring clients is a terrible struggle, isn't it? It's a good thing, but a bad thing. Restarting practice. When people join, it says, what are you struggling with now? And I make a copy of those and I put them on a spreadsheet. And I've got 432. And there's 1,500 people in the group. So 432 people have said that they struggle with something, and I've made a copy of that. And when we make a copy, we've got it forever and we can read through it. And so all of those people who are starting out in business, who are worried about business, who are thinking, overthinking, and overthinking is a huge problem in our industry. If you're an overthinker, tell me now. in the chat, whether you're back on the replay or not when you're here live, who overthinks everything? And I bet we can all raise our hand. I definitely don't do it as much as I used to, but when I first started out, I would overthink everything. And then I started learning from my mistakes, and learning from our mistakes is the biggest thing. Like, people would book in with me and they'd tell me their problems, and I would start researching and studying. And the ones that I did the most research for would then cancel. Yep. So I decided I'm not doing a ton of research for anybody anymore prior to them coming. I'm going to have an understanding, a basic understanding of their problem. They've booked in and they've got, I don't know, myasthenia gravis. What's that? Do a quick Google, have a read. That's it. No more than half an hour, so that I can talk knowledgeably about it. But at the end of the day, have I treated anyone with it yet? Newbie? No. So they're going to know more about their problem than I ever am anyway. So why not wait till we find out what their problem is and why they're coming to see us? All right, because there's got to be more to it when they walk through the door. So let's not overthink it before anything has happened. Now, you all know I'm a Kiwi because of the word think. Now, okay, setting up websites. So number one is your ABN. You'll need to go and get an ABN. You will need to speak to someone about what sort of business you should have, whether you should be in solo practice. It might be that you need to, what are you going to do with the money? How are you going to deal with the money? You need to go to a bank, get a business bank account. You need to be able to take money. So personally, I use Stripe, but I know lots of people use Square. I did use Square for a while, but I found that I didn't have the analytics that I wanted. But it is one of the cheaper options. There's other options out there. There's lots of other options, but I stick with Stripe. I'm using Stripe. I'm not going to change my old ways. I need a website. That's part of what I do now, is I do a whole 90-day program that includes all of the true setup. So the website, and we'll get you going with blogs, podcasts, videos. We'll get your opt-in going, we'll get your social media up and running. So that's one of the two options for the 90-day program. One is to help you with you and your mindset and what you're doing in your business, because you already have your website, because you already have all of those things all set up. And they could be added extras later on in what we do, but they would be priced later on. But we need to set up from the beginning. We need the URL, we need the host, we need the website. Okay. And we have to have a website to show credibility. It doesn't need to be a big one. We don't need 10-page websites. We literally need a landing page. A 3-page website is perfect. All right. You really don't need any more than that. You can put everything onto one page. So you can save yourself a lot of money. WordPress website, that's ones that I use. There are people who use Squarespace and create those. Chanel creates Squarespace sites, as does Elle Macpherson. I don't. That's their jam. My people are doing WordPress. So if you want help from me in that regard, then we do WordPress. But you need ABN, URL, website. And then when we're keeping notes, where are you going to keep your notes? So Simple Clinic has a really cheap option, a monthly option when you're first starting out. It means that you have whatever you do when you start out is going to be what you do forever. So for 15 years, I wrote on paper. I had joined a server to store everything, Galaxy. It was called HealthKit back then. And I had occasionally put things up onto it. Then in 2019, I was so busy, I couldn't do a paper system anymore. I was just running out of filing cabinets. And so you got to hold notes for 7 years. So I had a newly qualified, started working for me. And at the beginning, mid-2019, we uploaded everything, and I got everything finally up onto the Galaxy site that I'd had for 10, 15 years already. And I started using it. Then everything closed down is what I meant to say. And I was really pleased that I'd gone online. But what I notice when I'm talking to people is changing from one thing to another is the hardest thing, just like it was for me. I mean, I'd done it with someone, I'd done it at a really active time, and I'd done it with the support of my new employee who stopped working for me at the beginning in 2020 when it all hit, or mid-2020, whenever it was. So we've got to think, how do I want to store these notes? What am I going to put them on? Now, Simple Clinic will do everything for you. It's got your calendar, it's got where to store your things, so you can do it all in one place. It's really worth thinking about something like that for $30. And then you've got your links. So you got your website, and you use your Simple Clinic link, slap that onto your website, and off they go. People can book in, you can book them in, they can upload their content, you can connect to Araya. You need to join the practitioner companies as well. So I use Araya all the time, and I use Oborn. If you're in WA, you've got Renner, who are great, so you'll want to use them if you're in WA. So those are my go-tos, I would say. I find that Araya are amazing support for my clients as well. Don't have any issues with product or suppliers or anything like that. And I can order for myself the things that I need as well as for my clients. So that's why I have a tendency to use that. Now, how are we going? So secure storage. Oh yeah, secure storage for your note taking. If you're going to keep everything, you think, I'm so small at the moment, I don't even want to be paying $30 to Simple Clinic because I don't even have, and it's up to 50 clients, but it's a little bit variable. Get away with a bit more than that. Be like, oh, I don't really not there yet. Then it might be that you keep Google documents. All right, so you will need to pay Google money to store securely behind a paywall, or you can keep things on your computer on an external hard drive. All right, you can't even have them on your laptop because your laptop can be hacked. So you have to think, these things need to be secure. How am I going to do that? Am I going to do it on paper? Am I going to keep those files on paper for the short term until I've got enough clients to go, yeah, okay, I will move those 50 clients onto a system and pay for that system? Or I now have 50 clients, but only 20 of them are active, so I can afford Simple Clinic or whichever one I'm using, and I can slowly start loading those 20 that I'm seeing. I can load the other ones onto the email database so that I can email them, my bursts, but it's not pushing me over the edge. But do be aware that what you start out with, chances are what you're going to have in 20 years' time. Make sure your socials are up to date. So you're about to qualify all the way through your training. You've got pictures of you hopefully, you've got pictures of you in clinic, in student clinic, standing in front of all the herbs saying, book an appointment with me, right? Those pictures are great. Keep those pictures because hopefully they haven't got any Endeavour or Torrens or whatever branding in them. They've just got the picture of you in front of the herb saying, come book an appointment with me. It's worth going back in and changing the wording. So to say, look at all the herbs we have at our disposal to create the medicine that you need for your problem, so that it doesn't say book an appointment. Remove the book an appointments. So people will still see what you do. They see who you are, but they won't go back and go, oh, I have to book in at Endeavour. Oh, she's a student. He's a student when now you're qualified. So go back and do a little bit of social media sorting as you're about to qualify. So you can put up your picture of you in your gown and your cap and all the rest of it. That won't be until September or much later in the year, or maybe even next year if they only do one graduation. So because that's going to be a long way off, it's like I went to a student graduation. I was lecturing at Endeavour. I'd been lecturing at Endeavour 5 years or something. And of course, they have academics go. And I'd gone as an academic and they provide the gown. Now, I never went to my own capping at Charles Sturt. I had toddlers. I was going to go to a capping. Where is it? Somewhere awful in the middle of the country. Anyway, so I didn't go. So I didn't have a capping photo. So I took lots of capping photos. And then people who I've known for years are going, oh, what degree did you get? Oh, have you only just qualified? I'm like, okay, no, obviously not. You don't want to be perceived as brand new when you finally get capped, when it is that you get your capping. The other thing, tax. So if you're going to have your own office and you're going to see people one-to-one and you're going to have product in there, you're going to have herbs or something, and so you're going to be going out and buying product, it might be worth registering for GST in the short term so that you can claim all the GST back and then reverting back to being non-GST. You will need an accountant to do that, or a bookkeeper to do that, I think. I personally couldn't figure out how to do that. But if you've got the know-how on the numbers, then you'll know how to do that. So really think, do I need, I've got to be earning $75,000 to be GST registered. I'm GST registered. But to start with, you're going to be looking at $30,000, $40,000 starting out. And so you won't be GST registered. In which case, the accountant said to me way back when, and I said, because the GST, what do I do because I'm not GST registered? He said, you just pretend like GST doesn't exist. You don't write GST on anything. You don't fill in that number box. You don't put the percentages in there because you're not registered for GST. All you do is write the retail registered price or the retail registered price that you want to sell at. And, you can say includes GST. That's fine, but you're kind of behaving like GST doesn't exist because you can't claim any back and you can't charge people GST. You do need to decide with your accountant what you're going to be a solo trader. Are you going to be a company? If you want to do any of these things, you'll need a lawyer, and it might be worth it depending what else is going on in your life. So it's worth taking advice. Tax, payments, programs and packages. So programs tend to be when you've been in business a little bit of time because you know what the program is you want to do. But I remember when I was taking weight loss, whatever weight loss was called, weight loss or something, when I taught nutrition weight loss. And the way I taught it, when I taught it for the two semesters I taught it for, was for the people in the group to be creating a program with it. Now, there were people in that group who had started down the nutrition line because of weight and because of their own food things. And so they were all up and all upskilled on creating a program and the people they wanted to see and the niche they wanted to enter. So that worked really well for them. But some people were like, oh, what do I need to I don't know. Are these my people? Is this worth doing? So programs and packages, but packages when you're starting out are a great way to work in business. And it's something you want to think about. Packages. Would a package work for you? And it probably would, because we're overthinking that first client. We're worrying about that client coming to see us and will they come back? Whereas if we've sold them a package of 3 appointments in the first place and we've decided in our minds exactly how that's going to work, we're going to see them for that first appointment, we're going to take the case, we're going to go away, we're going to nut it out, and then we're going at the next appointment, present to them what we're going to do and go through those things with them. Then that is really worth for them and you. You know they're going to come for those 3 appointments. You know you've set up the system for those appointments with them and they are understanding that they're coming back for those appointments. And then after that, maybe they buy another package or whatever it is that works for you. But it does mean that they know what they're doing and you know what you're doing and you've set yourself a system. Systems are really important in business. Really, really important in business. Without solid systems and solid frameworks, then we do get lost in the clinical worry. We do get lost and we actually get in our own way. Since internet is playing up, I think we'll call it a day. Everybody's obviously doing school pickup right now. I hope you come back and watch the replay. So #replay. Thank you all for coming. And I will catch up with you all very soon. See ya.
Thanks so much for joining me today. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast for the weekly episodes. If you'd like even more support and learning, then the Academy is for you. Here you'll find part 2 of the herbal discussions, more clinical learning, and case studies to support your clients in practice. Bye for now.